happens when two real estate investors travel across the nation to uncover the nitty-gritty of rehabbing real estate. This is Rehab Nation Real Estate Uncovered.
Oh, you want to purchase property? Let me show you properly how to turn your pipe dreams to real life monopoly. First things first, what's your budget like? If you don't keep your budget tight, good luck trying to go to sleep at night. You going hard money? Nah, this ain't hard money. But interest only 12 months could leave you scarred money. It's only one way, get in and get out. Tree houses like fish, the way I'm gutting them out. Break it down to the studs, gotta clean out all the bugs. This is where you separate the real from the duds. Now what you waiting on? Go get your framing on. Time is ticking, 30 days, your first payment gone. I know it's getting rough, but now it's time to rough. Put some pressure on your subs, don't let them call you bluff. No sticker, no payment. I don't care who they blaming. It could be your uncle, who related.
All right, we are back, people.
Yes, we are, with another episode
of Rehab Nation Real Estate Uncovered. So today we have a special guest. We drove all the way to Philly, which is not too far from our stomping grounds.
Philly, we in the building.
Yeah, and I'm feeling real good about this episode because over the course of shooting the season, we had a lot of testosterone.
Indeed, we did.
You know, so we had to switch the style up and you know, get some female entrepreneurs that are doing their thing and actually, you know, out here putting in the work. And our guest today is really actively putting in the work from, you know, I'm talking floors in the trunk, whatever we got to do to make it happen. She's super active in Philly. Mahi Mesfin.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you coming on the show. And yeah, tell a little bit about who you are to the people and, you know, how you got into the game of real estate and yeah, talk to them.
Yeah, sure. So thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So I got into this game basically by shadowing somebody for a really long time until I got comfortable enough to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much how I started. It took a while, you know, just getting in there, rolling my sleeves up, learning the small things, putting flooring down, painting, hanging drywall.
So you were doing all that?
I was assisting, correct. Like
oh, wow.
Physically
laying floors.
Absolutely, because I had a passion to learn how to do those things. I came from an IT background.
Yeah.
I knew nothing, and I knew that I was going to eventually do it myself. And in order to hire contractors, you got to know what you're talking about. I mean, you got to know how long it takes to hang drywall, mud, paint, prime, you know, all that stuff, because they're going to, you know, you're hiring them based on per hour or per job. Yeah. So you got to kind of estimate. So that was my goal. I wanted to learn.
So now you can say, nah, it shouldn't take you 2 weeks to do this.
Like, there you go. Exactly.
I already went through the process and I know better.
Yes.
And then you could be like, give me this hammer. I'm going to do this myself.
I have before.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's super dope. That's super dope.
So did you come in like just from the investor side or just like straight, like, so you started really doing construction from the investment side, so you didn't come in from a realtor background or like wholesaling or any of that, like strictly investing, buying, and rehabbing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, you know, when I wanted to get into the real estate game, I was also interested in making sure I was good at analyzing deals and finding deals. Mm-hmm. So I did get my realtor license, but I am not active. Okay. But I do have it as just a way to. When I started off, I just wanted to be the first one to get deals. Yeah. Right. So I have access to MLS. I do have my license, which is key. So yeah, I came in that angle, and then I went into the investment angle. As soon as I started learning the construction business, I said, wow, I could do this too.
Okay, right, that's cool. Yeah. So how long, when the gentleman you were shadowing, how long did you shadow him for before you say, you know what, I'm comfortable with pulling the trigger on my first deal?
About 2.5 years.
Oh, see, people, pay attention. 2.5 years of mentorship.
Correct.
She went through, and now
no microwave oven over here. Yeah.
And we talk about that often, about the process, man, going through the
And
process.
falling in love with it.
Correct.
Because most people don't. You know what I mean?
It's a school.
then-
Like we pay for school, right?
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, you pay for university. You have to work. You can't just jump in. You gotta have some. You gotta have a mentor.
Absolutely.
Guidance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's dope. So, okay, so you started shadowing and you're learning. At what point were you like, I'm ready to just jump now? Like, I don't want to, I'm ready to be in the front.
Man, it just hit me one day, right? I was running the project. I'm also an IT project manager, so I know how to manage projects, vendors, timeline, budget. So I just knew, like, I was already helping that person out. And I said, you know what? I have all these processes in place. I know construction, on a basic level to talk. YouTube University.
Yeah.
I love that too.
Oh,
YouTube
man.
University.
YouTube
Talk about it.
And Google.
Yes,
Talk about
and
it.
Google.
Yeah,
My
YouTube,
best
Google.
friend.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
absolutely.
I learned a lot from there.
Yeah.
And so from that point, something just hit me. Said, you know what? Go find your first deal. And this is right before COVID,
Right.
where everybody was scared. So I
Yeah.
bought at a time where everyone was scared, but I wasn't, because I had the tools, the resources,
Yeah.
the knowledge, the confidence,
Right.
the momentum.
And when you know your numbers too, and which is the most important aspect, right, of where you're actually purchasing.
Right.
And the rest of the stuff you've been doing already for years. So like you said, that was already a no-brainer. It was like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't I jump in?
Exactly.
And people were running away from clothes. You
What?
couldn't get people to the closing
Yeah,
table.
they were
No.
like, everybody was like, hold tight. Like, hold tight. We're supposed to close today.
Today.
Yeah.
I don't know about that closing. Like, oh my God. So the fact that you dove in, that show your level of confidence in yourself. And that's pretty dope, because most people, especially, it's different if you are a seasoned investor where you just was like doing it and it's like, oh, it's just another deal. I'm not bugging. But it being your first in the middle of the craziness,
Right.
it takes a lot of confidence to say, nope, I'm doing it and ain't nothing stopping me.
Yeah.
So I applaud you for that for sure. Yeah, because
Thank
a lot of people would have said, you know what, God, maybe you're trying to tell me this ain't for me, and they don't mean that. It's just if you're prepared, you're prepared.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just timing. That's all it is. So
Right.
let's talk about this first deal, right? One, how did you actually source this deal? How did you find it?
So this was an off-market deal,
Okay.
from a friend that I knew like that person was selling. So it was off-market. It was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off market is
I
always
love it.
great. Yeah.
You usually get your best numbers in those deals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you found it just from like a relationship that you had with someone.
Correct.
Okay. Typically, when you're sourcing your deals and finding them, is it mostly referral for you, or do you actually do any like lead generation yourself?
Mostly referrals.
Mostly referrals.
I get
okay.
referrals all the time.
Okay.
All the time.
Wow.
That's good. If your deal's coming through referral based, that's the best.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
And you're not
Yeah.
the first guest to say that.
Yeah, we
You
had
know.
a few that say, people bring me deals, they bring me deals, and okay. So when you do get these deals that's coming through referrals, right? What is your process in regards to your due diligence on the deal, right? So we always revert back to our market. What I mean by that is when we asking the guests in the different states that we are in our market, one of the main things that we always look at is oil tanks, right? Because a lot of in North Jersey they have oil tanks, and you got to do an oil tank sweep and determine, if it's any type of leakage, and that's just a process that if you miss, it can cost you. Don't necessarily mean you won't buy the deal, but it's just a due diligence you have to do. And in Philly, what type of due diligence you have to do on your deals, and is there anything that will make you say, I'm not buying this? Not numbers wise, but just something going on with the property.
Absolutely. Good question.
Yeah.
So a lot of like my technique is before I even buy the house, as soon as I get, information, there's this deal available, I take my GC and he knows everything.
Yeah.
So we go in there, we scope it, and he lets me know. We do a walkthrough. We look at the main things, right? Mechanical, roof.
Yeah.
We don't really, not really roof, to be honest with you. But other big things, right?
Right.
Big ticket items.
Yeah, 'cause
Structural.
Structural.
foundation. Right.
Foundation.
Yeah.
Just the big things that I know is going to cost
Yeah,
me.
sometimes from eyeing a roof, like once you get good, you could
Yeah.
you start seeing how many layers if they have.
Yeah.
Well, they got 5 layers. You're only supposed to have 3.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you can, if it's not flat.
Yeah,
Correct.
Well,
yeah, if it's not
Yeah,
flat, that's
mostly
true.
it's flat, so we can't see. I know some people do drones. I haven't gotten there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what I do, and I think it's key. I think that you should take somebody that knows a lot more than you. I've put it on my Instagram. I've taken master plumbers with me. I've taken certain people that I feel like, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
I need you to come with me before I even put in an offer, and we go quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the day I find it, I'm there in an hour. Like you
Really?
gotta, oh yeah, it's
Oh,
competitive.
So
You gotta-
so you You don't
hour.
You don't procrastinate at all.
No, you can't in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get something good,
you gotta move.
You gotta move.
Yeah,
You gotta have the people there with you.
That's hunger. That's a different. That's a
She
different.
said as soon as she get it, she there within an
Oh,
hour.
boom. That's how I.
man.
So
close.
I want to circle back a little bit because I just want the people to understand, like when you get your referrals, right? Is it obviously you're active on social media. Is it more because of your activity on social media that you're getting it, or is it word of mouth from just relationships with like realtors you may know in the area? Like where are those referrals mainly coming from?
Yeah, good question. So this was established relationships I had before, but now since I started picking up this whole Instagram thing is all new. So I only started this maybe a couple months ago.
Okay.
Now I've been getting leads from there like crazy. Like I can't even keep up. Like I want to hire somebody to just funnel through deals because I'm so involved in the day to day.
That's a good problem to have. Just throwing that out there.
We might have to come out to Philly. Don't worry about it.
We can help you. We'll help take some of that load off.
We'll buy a few, you know. You can't
Let's
get it
work
all.
something out.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
no, let's do it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But okay, so that way. Now, when you said that, you bring your GC into the project and you move quickly, is it anything like that you say no? I will not do this project, or if the numbers make sense, it doesn't matter. You'll do it.
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm very confident in my team.
Yeah.
It would have to be like a major structural issue for me not to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, the other things don't scare me.
Yeah.
But it would have to be like a major structural issue or integrity to the house that I'm
Right.
like, you know what?
Yeah.
Like
It's not
something
worth
weird,
it.
like the main beam may be falling in,
Yeah.
and like the house may be sinking or
The
something.
sinking scares me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beams are not as bad. Beams are not bad. I've dealt with termites. I've dealt with a lot of crazy stuff, but structural things scare me. So if
Yeah.
anything is like
sinking a little
yeah.
bit, then you might
I'll
move.
probably stay away.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the worst case scenarios in Philly that you've seen with projects? Excuse me. So there aren't any oil tanks, I'm assuming, right? Like oil tanks aren't a thing out here.
I haven't seen that
Okay.
so far.
Cool.
for me.
So what is a thing where, because there are a lot of row houses, right, out here, for the most part, mostly all row houses. So like, are the sewer lines connected where that can be a problem? So let's say the neighbor may have a backup. Now it affects your property or the cluster.
Or is it
Yeah.
individual lines going to the street? How
From the street.
Yeah.
Pretty much it. So my current project right now, I just found out yesterday. I know we were talking earlier. The main stack is completely cracked.
So you gotta
So
dig
that's
out.
gotta dig it out.
Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty common, to be honest. But I have been through that before. I know the cost. I know, so it doesn't scare me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just an added cost. It's
Right.
like-
It's an added cost.
Cha-ching.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, being that that's pretty common here,
Yeah.
is that something that you say, you know what, going into your due diligence of a project, because you won't really know until you know, do you kind of add that in there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I keep a buffer on my budget.
Okay. What percent?
About 20%.
20. That's even more conservative than what
I'm
we
very
said.
conservative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's what we said, like 10?
10,
Like
yeah.
10?
You do-
Yeah.
I was gonna say 10, but this project, I started doing 20.
Yeah. But that's smart, I think, because worst case scenario, you're just getting the money back.
Correct.
You'd rather have more than less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, we try to say, 10%, but that 10% don't always.
Yeah.
That
And
10%, we hit
yeah.
20%. We hit
Yeah.
20%, like, oh, man.
Quick too.
Yeah.
Quick.
that's a whole, yeah, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that.
Get into that part of the process.
All right. So, okay, you got this deal. You did your due diligence. All right. You're like, I'm doing it. Contract, lockdown. What is your, what's your direction for financing these deals? Like, what, how do you go about structuring them? Do you structure all your deals the same, or what's your approach to it?
Hard money,
Yeah.
private lenders, your money.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you just super wealthy and rich?
Yeah,
or
right.
so you got all the cash?
No, so I do use, bank, your normal bank. So the first couple of deals were on my own, so I leveraged.
When you said normal banks, are you talking about conventional, or are you talking about?
I've done both.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done conventionals. My recent duplex was FHA. That's
Okay.
what they call house hacking. So
Yep.
I live in one unit. And I
Yeah,
do the
yeah.
other. And then I've done Burr on my first property. So
Yeah.
when I'm doing Burr,
Yeah.
I bought the next house.
Right.
Yep.
My current project, I am partnered with somebody So I presented the deal.
Yeah.
And
You guys are doing like a JV split?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they might have put up the money, and
Yeah.
you're managing the project, and when it's all sold, yeah, split
Correct.
it. Okay.
Correct.
And is that a
Yeah.
combination of them putting up all the cash or them putting up some of the cash and then you still having to go and get financing for the rest of it? Or is it like
All the cash.
all the cash?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And
you
then-
want to work with me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hit up, you
Right
want.
now you gotta pay to
Yeah.
play, baby.
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
yeah.
Bring it. I
get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Okay. All right, bet. So it's like a combination of different things. So, which I think is some gems just for our viewers and listeners. One, we talked about house hacking, right? FHA. So was your first deal FHA? Because typically, they want to see, you can get more. A lot of people don't think you can get more than one FHA loan, but you actually can as long as it's closed out.
Yeah.
It's closed
absolutely.
out.
Yeah.
So your first one was FHA?
It actually wasn't.
Wasn't,
My
okay.
first one was conventional.
Conventional.
I went there conventional, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So then I did the FHA, and correct. A lot of people think, oh, I have one. No, that's not the case.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You can buy one the following year.
Right.
Rule is you live in
Right.
for 1
And-
year.
Yeah,
and-
that's
and
it.
the-
1 year, and then you can
Right.
move on to
And,
the
Correct.
next.
and
Correct.
another gem I don't want to go over is you're bankable, right? Because you're talking about
Oh
going.
I was gonna rewind
Okay.
back to that because you said conventional. Most people, what I was gonna ask you, it was a rehab project, right? So you had to, I'm assuming, get a 203K or something of that nature.
No,
or
it didn't need a lot of rehab. I got lucky with this one.
Oh, it was more cosmetic.
Yeah.
Oh.
Very cosmetic.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So you was able to get in and out.
In and out quick.
Okay,
5 weeks.
but to the point,
yeah.
5 weeks.
Yeah.
Don't let that go over your head because that's pretty quick to get in and
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But the fact of the matter that you're bankable now, did that come from your previous background in IT, and did you keep your main job at the time that you was at,
Yes.
and before you was ready to kind of move on, or did you move on? Do you still have your main job, or is this full time now for you?
I have many full-time jobs.
Oh, we got the ultimate
hustler.
Oh, my
I'm loving this episode
I
already.
know. She said I got many
Awesome.
full time. So you hustling 24/7.
Make sure they don't hear me though.
Oh,
Yeah.
nah, they don't got
Yeah,
to.
no,
we're
we're,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we're edited out, but that wouldn't be
It's
true.
all
We
good.
gotta
Yeah.
leave that. We gotta leave that.
But
in
You gotta
no,
juggle
no.
both. Though,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I think that I promote that when you want to start off, you gotta have a W-2.
Right.
Yeah.
That is what gets you out. That's
Right.
you know,
Gives you
have to.
gives you that stability to be able to
Correct.
do it. So really, you have 2 full-time jobs, right?
Right.
Because obviously, now this is another full-time
Full-time
gig.
job.
Absolutely.
People look at it like it's quick money, doing quick flips, but it is totally opposite.
Yeah.
Get rich slow scheme.
Right.
Very
Yeah.
slow.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You will get rich, but it'll be slow
Yeah.
if you stay the course.
Correct.
And I think it's dope what you said in regards to, and again, for it not to go over the people's head, being bankable and having that W-2. When we got into the game, we didn't look at it. It was like, okay, we get into the rehab projects, we're gonna get a hard money lender, this, that, and the third. And this was years ago. But as the years went on, we realized it's more important to be bankable.
Correct.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that. So the fact of the matter that either you knew that already, maybe your mentor told you that, like, hey, keep your job, just be bankable. Now you can do so much more.
Absolutely.
Being that.
And it's easier to scale up too
Right.
when you're doing development projects because somebody's gonna have to guarantee all the loans, right? Like,
Correct.
once you get into 5 units and up, and the fact that you are bankable is going to make it so much easier to walk through those doors. So that's
Exactly.
clutch. Like, a lot of people think when they get into real estate, they gotta just say forget everything, and that's they actually should use their job as leverage to do more deals, right? Because
Especially now.
right,
Yeah.
because once once you're not bankable now you're relying on private money, which is more expensive,
Right.
right?
Right.
You're talking about FHA, what, 3%? You're
2.2.
2.2.
2.2. Oh my
That's
God.
what I'm
Oh
telling
my
you.
God.
I
And
mean,
you had a 3-family, right?
It's a 2. It's
Oh,
a
2-family. And you stayed in the one and you rented it
Yes.
out. It took care of itself.
But with the possibility of me converting it to a triplex.
Mm.
So that there's a bottom. Yeah, it's
So you
Yeah.
had a home
you
run.
have to.
home run.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
move though. I mean, like I'm like now's the time to make moves. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
If you have a great W-2, max out.
Max
Yeah.
it out.
Max out. Find good deals.
Yeah.
Right.
So, right.
No, that's
They gotta
super,
be
that's super
good
smart
deals.
that you went that way. And then the ability to say, you know what, I'm going to stay in here for a year.
Yeah.
Let me do what I got to do. Like, everybody's not willing to sacrifice to get to that next level, right? Because sometimes sacrifice is uncomfortable.
Very.
You know,
Very.
and you're doing things that you're like, this ain't the most comfortable thing, but I know it's going to propel me.
Right.
And the fact that you had it in you to say, you know what, nah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you got to
Absolutely.
stay down till you come up. You know.
Right.
So that's
Right.
definitely. So once you actually, okay, you close on the deal, you got your financing. What's the process here in Philly as far as permits, right? Like, do it take a week, 2 months? We heard.
I mean, there's
Like,
some
we
places
had like a
like,
year. It's like crazy.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy.
yeah, how long in Philly it takes to get
It's
a permit?
crazy, and I think it's about who you know too.
Yeah,
A lot of people, they kind of, know architects that can speed up the process for them.
yeah.
Right.
So you got to network. You got to make sure you're connected with those architects that can get
Get
the
it-
drawings
yeah,
approved
yeah.
and move things quick.
people that are locally connected and
Right.
implanted into the system already.
Correct. And that
But-
takes networking.
Yeah.
for
Right.
sure.
But normally, like, just okay. So in Jersey, what we call is a full jacket.
Okay.
We submit, which is the plumbing, electric, building, fire, all demo, everything at once. We submit it, with the plans and everything to the building department. First, the plans go to zoning, and then so we submit a full jacket. That's
Yeah.
what we call it. In Philly, how does it? Do you guys got to submit everything at once? Do you submit just your demo with your plans? Like, what's the
It's
process?
demo with the plans. Then you got the rough-in. They have to come in. They have to approve that. Well, the demo first, and then the rough-in. They have to come in and approve the
Right.
electrical,
But
HVAC.
right, but
Yeah.
before you even get to breaking down a wall,
Yeah.
how long does it take from the time of submitting
Yeah.
to approval?
It's a couple weeks.
A couple weeks?
Yeah. I wouldn't say it would take like months.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it?
And
Just
I
like-
start before too. So before
Right.
you even close on the house, you can submit.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got to stay ahead.
Do they make you submit in the current owner's name, or can you submit in? Because sometimes,
Yeah.
in our area, you got to submit it if you don't own it. Technically, if you don't own it yet, they make you submit it with
Yeah.
the current owner,
And then you can
just switch
update it.
Yeah,
Then you
just
can update it
And that's
later.
what I did pretty much.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
got you. Okay.
See, so you're smart. You're
Yeah.
ahead
You
of the
gotta stay
game.
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you said 2 weeks.
No, couple weeks.
Couple
it
weeks.
takes about a couple
Right,
weeks.
couple
yeah.
weeks. So-
And because I'm trying to reduce the start time.
Yeah,
So
Right.
I don't want to like wait after you close.
yeah.
So if you start, a couple weeks before you close, maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It takes.
So
Yeah.
from the time you submit the paperwork to the time they call you and say, "Hey, the permits are approved and ready," say give or take about a month.
Yeah, about a month.
Okay, all right.
And
How
is-
long is it in Jersey? Is it more than that?
No,
It depends.
Yeah, well, it depends.
on the city.
It
Okay.
depends on the city and type of project. So my new construction project taking a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
My renos not too crazy, but it all depends too
Okay.
what exactly you're doing.
I see.
And the cities, like, so for instance, one city, the city we from, Jersey City, it takes longer. Even on the rental projects, it can be 6-8 weeks
Oh, okay. Weeks.
of getting your permit
Right,
back,
everything.
I see.
everything.
Okay.
But then there's other
Yeah.
cities that's sister city, from our city, and it may take 3 weeks.
I see.
So even though it's North Jersey
Yeah.
and you have a city, Jersey City, but then you have another city, North Bergen, that they move faster.
All right.
So it's not the same statewide. Now, let me back up a little bit as I'm talking. In Philly, is it one building department for the whole city, or is it like, hey, this part of the, the
Right.
city,
It's
Like
one.
we're in Southwest
one.
right now. It's one for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Wow. And they still get it back within.
Yeah. With COVID, things improved. Like during COVID, it was tough, but now like they improved some processes. So other people may disagree, but yeah,
Right.
I think the process improved with COVID.
Well, if you
Everybody
s-
got a little
right. And
efficient.
if you submit it right the first
Yeah.
time, it helps if they don't have to kick it back.
Correct.
Now, do you what was I gonna say? So when you're submitting it, do you use an expediter or do you just submit it on your own?
On my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, you got full boots on the ground
Yeah.
And then do they have a portal or is it like
in
They
person.
got a portal too.
they have a
Yeah.
portal too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that helps speeds up
You
the
guys have a
process.
portal
Yeah,
as
we
well?
do.
Okay.
We do have a portal.
I think it got so much efficient.
Philly
after COVID.
is sounding kind of interesting.
Sound like I might have to come out to Philly.
They gotta
Yeah.
throw that emoji on
Yeah,
that.
like-
Gotta-
Oh man. So okay, cool. So you get your permits in.
Yeah.
Now it's time to, knock down these walls and get into this rehab
Right.
process. Talk a little bit about how you structure your rehab in regards to going into it, planning. We're gonna get into the nitty gritty.
Okay.
is the process usually smooth? Do you have issue with your contractors? Or, you know, again, as you spoke about earlier, you can't come from that background of already being the person that's laying down the floors and hanging the sheetrock. So how did that help you in regards to now doing your own projects and managing your own projects? So talk a little bit about your process.
Yeah, so I mean, that really helped knowing that in terms of like when you're hiring somebody, right? Like you can see if it's a good job, it's a bad job. Do they know what they're doing? So that kind of helps me. I'm also learning too. Like I don't know everything. I know what I know, but I'm also learning things every day. So I do help them a lot. And so that's my process. So I've hired. I'm involved with the hiring for any job. I'll go and I monitor. I check if they're doing a good job, if they're laying the tile the right way, if they're doing the flooring the right way.
Have you come across any issues in the project that's being rehab, or and you could be open. I know people like, I don't want to, talk about
without bashing anybody.
No
bashing. But if you want to, that's fine too.
It's for the people to understand, because you might come and say, no, my project's good. Or like, I did have, like, the GC that you're working with now, has this been the GC from every project from the beginning? And if so, have everything smooth, or did y'all have to kind of, what was the situation?
Yeah, I've had various GCs, but right now with him is very smooth.
Yeah. So let's talk about the other ones. Yeah.
There's
man,
there's so
you
many.
see that face?
Now we get into the
Make sure you zoom in that face on the edit.
Now we get into the nitty gritty. So let's talk about the old ones, not the current guy, the guy that's doing his thing, the ones that you had to move on for.
I mean,
reasons for having to move on.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me the struggle was trying to find somebody that like just didn't want to accept the money and they didn't have the skill set. A lot of people are hungry; they just want the money, they just want to work.
Right.
And when you're kind of up against a wall, sometimes you have a deadline. You got to keep it moving and keep the project going.
So do you pay your guy, like, how typically when someone's starting a project for you, what does your pay scale look like in terms like for the duration of the project? And
before you answer that, do you do your project with labor and material, or just labor and you pick up the material?
I've done everything. I've done both ways.
Okay.
I've pretty much GC'd my own project without having the official GC title on it.
Yeah.
I've done both ways.
And just hiring subs for everything.
Hiring subs. Right. So it really depends what the job is. It really depends on what the
and what's the scope, like if it's
what
major,
the scope is. Right.
Got you. So typically, how much do you give? Do you give money up front, or do you say you gotta actually do some work before I cut a check?
Yeah. No, I hear this. This is a good question. I've heard so many suggestions. My thing is, so I do a phase approach.
Okay.
Right. So up front, like for demo. Once they're done with demo, I'll pay.
So
the
when
demo
they start the demo,
phase.
are you giving them? Say if the demo's 10,000, just use that for example, and you agreed on it, and the crew is coming in Monday to start the demo. Are you giving them a check before they come in on Monday? End of day.
Yeah.
So you paying them daily, or is it just end of day to get it going on the first day? Go a little detail into that.
Right. So to just get it going the first day of the demo, they need the money, right? So they're renting a truck. They got to pay for the dumpster, to go dump it, all that stuff. And it's a lot of work. When I do full gut, it's a lot of trash.
Yeah.
So for that, I pay up front. After that, it's a phased approach. So I come up with a plan with him. I said, phase 1, we're doing plumbing, electric, HVAC, framing.
Rough, right.
Just the rough end. Once that's complete and everything is agreed upon, check. I cut you a check.
So are they finishing that work before they get a check?
Correct.
So they're now we're gonna rewind a little bit. Are those on the jobs that's labor and material, and they're buying the material, or is the jobs that it's just labor and you purchasing the material?
Either way.
Yeah.
Either way.
Okay.
I use the same payment method, phased approach.
So they know they're not getting paid until they complete.
Absolutely perfect.
Now, completing meaning pass inspections, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So once they pass the inspection, then you give them that check.
Yeah, because you want them to come back and fix things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So essentially they starting before they finishing the stuff before getting any check from you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty dope that you have that relationship and they're willing to do that because, you know, we did find out in one of our last interviews, something similar. It was kind of more statewide where it was like, hold up, they don't get paid until you finish? I was like, oh, man.
Yeah,
100%?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, not 100%.
Not 100%.
It was still phases.
Okay.
It was still phases like you're saying. But in our market.
Yeah. No, you better come with a check.
Yeah. Like
Day one.
They want to check day one. Now,
Yeah.
mind you, obviously, we're not talking about anything like 50%. Small, right?
Okay.
It could be $5,000, something in good faith that, you know, I'm going to pay you, you're going to start, and we're going to have a meeting of the mind.
And for me, with my projects, if I'm paying for the material, even if it's demo, I'm not giving them no checks. Like
no checks at all.
Zero.
Until end of day?
No. Till the end of the week.
Oh.
If I'm paying for the material, because usually if I'm paying for the material, I'm paying for the dumpster, right? And everything of that nature. So they're not removing the trash or anything. They're removing it to put it in the dumpster, but I'm paying for the dumpster myself, right? So their job is strictly labor. So if it's going to take them the week, my philosophy has been, and I've had guys that's like, oh, I need a check, I need $1,500, I need $2,000. I'm like, but for what? You're not paying for anything. It's just your labor. And once you finish your labor, then I pay you. So they also
got to pay their guys at the end of the week.
Yeah, at the end of the week, because most people pay their guys at the end of the week, not daily. Even though they date laborers, if this is going to take 7 days, they pay. Everybody want to check on Friday.
Right.
So Fridays come. So that's how I do it when it was just labor only. If it's labor and material, then you have to cut something because again, then they providing the dumpster and different things of that nature. But even then, it never got to that point where it's like, all right, when you pass all inspections, I'm gonna cut you the check for phase 1. Oh man, I love that. I gotta come to Philly.
Yeah, nah, Philly. Yeah,
you are convincing us more and more.
Yeah, I saw some board ups on the way here, so
yeah.
I'm already on it.
Always looking, always looking.
Okay, cool. So you're going through your project. Now you did say you have an IT background, which I think is definite strong skill set to have when you managing a project. Do you use what softwares do you use when you're managing your projects and to help keep track of your of your budget and kind of where you're at?
Yeah. So I'm not fancy. I use Google Docs.
Okay.
I have an Excel spreadsheet on there. I have a template. Reuse it. That's it.
I
have a timeline that I have, my scope of work that I keep updated, and my budget sheet that keeps everything, every transaction, material, everything that I have. So I keep it pretty simple.
Got it.
Yeah. And sometimes I use a method called like a Kanban board. It's a visual sticky, like you actually do it. I keep it in my house usually. Sometimes I bring it on job sites and I write it in Spanish.
Yeah.
So that they understand,
like what's going on.
What's going on and where we're at. And I use that when we're close to the finishing, not now when everything is still open and crazy.
Yeah,
but
in the gut.
Because the small things, people kind of forget. Like, make sure you caulk. You forgot to caulk this area.
That's true. So you put the sticky notes on the That's smart.
It's an agile methodology.
Yeah.
It's, I have it on my Instagram page as well.
Okay.
It's basically like swim lanes, you know, to do, in progress, waiting, and done. So literally, I would move the stickies with them, and that's just kind of like my technique.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And now they know.
So it's sitting there, and it's like in progress.
That's why they say females are just better, man. That's like,
just have it down to the T, that's actually smart because you just stick. Because as you talking, I'm thinking about project. When I come back, I'm like, and it's not intentional.
They
forget little stuff. They forget little
is it
stuff.
color coded based off of the progress?
I try not to make it too crazy. I just keep one color.
One color,
and it just said in progress.
Like I'll have a sticky that says pretty much like need to caulk the living room corner rounds. I'm sorry. Don't forget to do that.
Yeah.
And I'll just put that in there on Spanish, and I'll be like, to do.
And then you see it, and they like get it done.
I'll come in the morning, and we'll have like a quick huddle.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, this is what needs to get done. Let's go, vámonos.
Yeah,
man.
Let's get it.
Make it happen. Nah, I like that. So you got now. With that being said, are you usually on time and on budget on your project?
No. I would be lying if I said
No, this is we don't lie on this show. We keep it all
we keep it all the way on.
We tell it how it is, because at the end of the day, the people that's watching, that will be watching, they gonna whatever stage they at in the game, like okay, they're gonna learn from the real. So speak on it.
So I will say things changed after COVID. Everybody knows the price of lumber, the price
Lumber,
of
oh my
everything,
God.
appliance.
Yeah, wiring.
My numbers from last year and this year completely off. I
Yeah.
mean, everything is just. So I think that kind of threw me off the last couple rehabs.
Yeah.
That's
So
been
were
more
you
tough.
at that 20% over or more?
No. So it was like 10%.
Okay.
Okay.
So you still you was below your.
Yeah.
Was it 20% new where you went to that where you put into your
The
budget?
next one, correct. So see, I kind of
You learned from it.
added a little bit.
Right.
I mean, it's everything went up.
Yeah.
And
So before you was at what, the 10% range you used to add it to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you knew like, okay, let me put 20 on this extra
Right.
on this budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, was that just from prices going up or unforeseen things that will come up in the project?
Both.
Both.
So
Right.
like today, we got to replace the whole stack. That's
Right.
a big job.
Yeah.
That
So
just pushed
how
my
much
timeline.
how much do those cost out here? Because I can tell you.
Depends who you.
Yeah.
Depends
Depends
who you
on
have,
know,
and
who
connections you
know.
have.
Right.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
Every
that's a fact.
investor prices. Everybody that's out here getting different investor prices.
Right.
What is your
what
price?
is
Yeah. What is your price?
I know you're like, I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
But they don't know who
You're
you're
like-
using, you know?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, so I would say about 1,200.
1,200.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that's
yeah.
great. And
Yeah.
that's them opening up the street and
Yeah.
adding. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I like to put into perspective because we pay like anywhere between like $5,000. Usually, typically,
Wow.
like $5,000 for them to open up the street. Now you're talking about changing
Just the inside.
just
yeah,
the inside,
yeah.
not the street. Okay,
No.
Not from, okay, so from the inside up.
from the inside. up.
not
Oh,
from-
okay, not from
Correct.
the. Okay,
Not
gotcha,
from
gotcha,
that to
gotcha.
the
Not
street.
not the
Not
main.
to the
Okay.
street.
No, from the street. Oh, that's a
Yeah, that's what we,
Yeah.
that's why when you said
that's
12,
like $5,000 to $8,000.
yeah, when you said
yeah.
1,200, I'm like, shit.
No,
From
just
the
the
street.
inside.
Yeah, just the main.
I was
Okay,
about to say,
gotcha.
well, what about who's putting back the concrete and who doing?
Yeah,
Okay, so
no.
that's just the main stack.
Correct. The
Okay.
main stack.
So, are the main stacks usually out here cast iron?
Yes.
Okay, so now
And
you're
you know
going
how they
PVC
rot.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're going
Yeah.
PVC.
you're going
for
PVC
sure.
back.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
yeah,
That's not bad. 1,200. Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
yeah, for
Yeah,
the,
Yeah, Mahi, we're talking.
yeah. we got deals in the
Yeah.
making. We will be in Philly.
Yeah, we will be.
But it's
Oh,
funny
man.
because people have been trying to get me to do deals in Philly for years, and I
Yeah.
just like, oh, no, I'm just gonna kind
I
of
feel
stick
like
to where I'm
Jersey's
at.
harder.
I mean, that's what people was, that was coming from Jersey out here doing a lot of deals. I just kind of like,
But
I'm
you
sticking
know,
to the.
it's just that thing of stepping out of your comfort zone, right?
Right.
Like we're super accustomed to knowing how the process works, and I think for us too, a lot of it is we're tainted because we've been through a lot of trials and tribulations, even in our own market.
yeah.
So we know what it's like to start somewhere new and not have the same resources
Yeah.
that you have already.
But now you got to find a
Okay.
contractor in that market, so it got to
Right.
be through relationship based, where it's
Right.
like, oh no, I have a guy for you, and it's
Right.
your market rather than coming in new. It's like, oh, that's maybe a good deal, and
Right.
then you going through the same. Even though you might have the knowledge, you don't know the
Right.
guys.
And then,
Yeah.
it's simple as managing a project, right? You said you're doing the daily huddle, right?
Yeah.
So if you're traveling, you're not doing that. So you
Yeah.
got to have
Yeah.
somebody who, has
site.
boots on the ground,
Right.
right? So those things are important. Okay, cool. So where are we? You're in your project,
yeah.
going through, managing it, getting close to the end, about to wrap it up. What are some of the things that you do to make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted? I know you mentioned the sticky notes. Is there anything else that you do to make sure that it is like, that there's nothing left for uncertainty after the fact?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. So the stickies really help. The group huddles every day, me syncing up with the
So
GC.
every day you do your group huddle.
I try to.
Yeah.
I try to. So yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
If not twice a week,
Twice
at
a week.
least.
Right.
At least. Right now I'm not. This is the kind of stage where
Yeah.
things open up. But
Yeah.
when we're, getting close to the finish line,
Yeah.
I also do what's called I'll go around and I'll blue tape certain
Blue tape,
areas,
yep.
imperfection areas. And they know what it means. So
So what happens when you blue tape an imperfection area? How do you address it? Are you like, hey, you might need to fix it, or you like, hey, that ain't right? What,
Well, you know-
are you the pit bull? Because sometimes women in certain situations, because they feel like, I don't want nobody to try to take advantage, so I got to be a little boom. Or did you like, you know what? I'm cool with everybody. I'm just gonna tell them and then fix it. Like,
Yeah.
how are you in the mix when something don't go right?
Good question.
Yeah.
I follow my own like IT principles as I do. As a leader, I don't, I try to just do win-win scenarios. I don't believe in like you being harsh. That doesn't resolve anything, or being a pit bull. You know, it really depends who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
I think when you correct.
It definitely depends who you're dealing with.
Yeah, it depends who you're dealing with. But I think with kindness and you kind of explain, they are more happy to fix things for you, right? I just let them know, like, hey, I don't like this. We got to fix this. Let me know when it's done. Like, I'm not coming in there like a pit bull. Like, I think that doesn't resolve.
Now, have you ever got any pushback on something where it's like, yeah, this is not done right? And they're like, no, this is done right. It is not. Like, have you gotten any pushback, or have it been like, okay, we're going to fix it?
Mostly it's going to fix it. Mahi says, so we're going to fix it. Yeah. Like, if it's completely, and the thing is, they're amazing. They do great work. And most of the stuff that it's really a mistake. Right. So they'll fix it right away. If Mahi's not happy, gotta fix it.
Okay, cool.
Mahi has to be happy.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, my paycheck won't be happy.
Especially that I can't get paid to the end.
Yeah, to the end.
So we gonna fix it. That's good. Yeah. So we at the point where, and we do this every episode, and it's not an obligation by any means, but we always bring something.
No one has said no. Just want to
throw. I'm scared.
No pressure.
Yeah.
But no one has said no.
You want to throw that in there, but no. Every episode we bring something special. I don't know what this is because I didn't bring it. So Saeed's gonna have to explain it. Okay. Because I'm unfamiliar.
So typically every episode is either we've done scotch, cognac, vodka. Because I didn't know everybody's different. Tequila was on deck, right? But we decided against tequila because we didn't know. So I got a nice bottle of Prosecco.
Aw, thank you.
Keep it, keep it a little Friday, midday. But yeah, so I was told that this, Santanello is a really good Prosecco.
I love Prosecco.
Okay, fantastic.
He said, I'm like, I don't know. He was like, I think this is more light. I was like, okay, I don't.
I love it.
That's
so we just take a toast to, obviously we're here talking about breaking bread and, just
to the process. Make sure you don't let it break that.
No worries. And I do want to say that, and I put it on my Instagram before. So I am going to start my own business pretty soon. It's a hybrid between it's basically a PM client rep between the GC and the client. Oh. So I've kind of, I have a crew. Yeah. And I lead them. They like that. Yeah. And I'm getting clients, and they don't want anything to do with the rehab. They just said, call me when you're done. Really? So I started doing that unofficially. Yeah. But I do have my website that's going to launch.
Plug it. Soon. What's the name of the business that you've done? I just told him. I just told him not to do that.
Awesome.
I just told him to hold the plug.
No, all I did, and we're gonna run this back because we gotta rewind because that was all I did was literally loosen.
You just loosened
all I did was loosen. You saw it.
Don't try to save him. You're supposed to hold your hand on the top of it when you lose it.
Typically, I don't have to do that. That was my first time.
You know what? It's probably shaking in the car.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You give him all these outs. I said, hold the top.
That's hilarious.
Luckily, it didn't break anything.
Cut it out, man.
In the mix of this.
Or pop my eye.
Oh my God. That would have been even worse.
Thank you.
Good content.
Yeah. All you see is,
I know, right?
Great content.
It's like that come to Philly and you're just blowing up the bar. Oh my God.
Philly, man, listen.
Now, is this typically sweet? Because I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know that one, but Prosecco's typically okay. Like, it's not too sweet for me.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't like sweet, yeah.
No, I'm fine. Nah, it's okay. I can have a mixture of it. Well, we appreciate you coming out. Like you said, to talk about the process, and it's super dope on what you're doing, and you're out here and, having your team and being a hustler, man. Like you said, 24/7, no days off. So salute to you.
Thank you.
And we're going to definitely continue this going, and
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me see what this is like.
No, it's pretty good.
Oh, it's really good. Wow. Great choice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I love it.
He's the liquor
connoisseur.
I can tell.
Yeah, he's the guy that's going to be able to let you know what's good. But okay, so we don't miss the point.
We should have had this before the interview.
Yeah, I know, right?
Then you really
right.
have the
Yeah.
relaxation for sure. But you was about to plug your new business that you have, right?
Yes.
Between being the liaison between someone, the contractors, and say investor or somebody that's doing a project.
Yeah.
So, talk about the business and what's the name, how can people find you, website, etc.
Yeah, so right now my website's Investor Star Mahi. I have not officially launched it yet.
Okay.
I'm still working
Well,
on it.
by the time this
Yes.
come out, because it'll be launched for sure.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
Okay, so spell it. So it's Investor Star Mahi. Okay.
Yes.
.com. Okay.
Correct.
And you're gonna be working the liaison between GCs and
The client.
the client, which could be a regular homeowner or a
investor.
retailer or
Yeah, I'm targeting investors.
Okay.
I'm targeting investors like you guys. Say like you come here and you buy and you're like, you know what, Mahi has a team. They do an amazing job. But I'm in Jersey. I have other projects going on. I'm busy.
Right.
You can then you can have a discussion about that, and I will just run your project for you from start to finish.
All right.
Well, you might definitely be getting that
Yeah,
call
you might,
soon.
you might have some clients day one.
Yeah.
Exactly after we finish. But no, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool because having somebody that is efficient, and once you get it to the point where people are like, oh man, you get my job, it's like
Yeah.
it's gonna be
outside of numbers and actually your buy-in, your price point, working the project is the most important part.
Absolutely.
So,
Definitely.
you can lose so much money on mismanaging the project.
right.
Yeah.
Even if your price point was good on the buy-in, you could lose so much of that profit that you could do a lot of work and break even, right? Or
Absolutely.
make minimal. So that's key. And there's a lot of, you probably know more. I know people from Jersey. There's a lot of eyes on Philly right now, just in terms of investing, because the price points are a lot cheaper than where we are.
Yeah.
But you could probably,
And speak on that, like, so the project that we're gonna take a look at, right? Is it a single family?
It's a single family.
Okay, so a single family, and it was obviously a gut rehab.
Yeah.
What is a typical entry point, or what you would consider a good entry point on a single family? What's the layout? 3-2. What's your layout as far as bedrooms and?
So I am actually converting this to a 4 2.5.
Okay.
Because it was so big, and I was like, so I gutted the whole thing down. I said, oh, we're gonna add, bedrooms.
Basement or no?
It has a really nice high ceiling basement.
Oh, really?
I got lucky with this one.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm putting a bedroom down there, full bathroom suite, a living area.
Yeah.
I didn't zone it for a duplex, but I could have. Maybe in the future I can. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. But it's possible because I have enough space to put in a kitchen.
Yeah.
And then the upstairs, I added a half bath on the first floor, and then the upstairs, I have a full bath.
Okay, so for a rehab of that nature, what is a good price point to purchase?
To purchase?
Yeah, to purchase.
Where? Depends what zip code.
Well, what zip code are we in right now?
19143.
Okay, so 19143, in this zip code for a project like that, what's a good entry point?
Now, 90.
Okay, so before, like a year ago.
Man, don't even tell me. A year ago was like much cheaper.
Like what? Like
year ago
60?
you could get like 60, 70.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was stuff. Now
Yeah.
it's
Okay, so
like, a full, like, actually after I bought mine, there was a house that was around the block, almost a shell, and it sold 175 as a shell. I mean, I was shocked, and
Wow.
So
shocked.
if it's sold 175 as a shell, what are you selling
what's
for?
the- what's the ARV?
Yeah,
So
it's
that's what I was surprised, because the ARV is good, but it's not like you don't want to get in there 175.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
because
ARV
I
what?
saw the ARV around here. Recently the corner house sold for 232. There's another house for sale right now, didn't sell yet, 256. So it's an upcome. It's gonna get there. I mean,
Right.
I think in a few years it'll break 3 for
Okay.
sure. But I'm doing all buy and holds right now. My main thing is buy
Oh,
and
you
hold,
buy?
so-
So you hold?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
so that
sure.
was the transition.
That leads
Yeah.
into our next set of topics. So after you finish, right now, well, before we even get to that point, so you're not typically you're keeping everything. You don't typically flip anything, or have you done flips as well?
With my previous partner.
With your previous partner?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you did those flips, did you list it yourself, or did you work with agents?
Agent.
You work with agents.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wear so many multiple hats. I don't have time. Oof,
Right.
Yeah.
To do that.
Yeah, no,
too,
it's
but
good
yeah, I
to
work with,
know your strength. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So basically from what you're saying, so your strategy is buy in and hold, right?
Yeah.
Now, and it makes sense why you made the statement earlier, like, hey, later down the line, if I wanted to potentially make it a duplex, I can when I had the kitchen. Are you buying and holding a lot of single families? Or is it just was a great deal and that's why you bought it? And like, so what or do it don't matter? Is it a situation where
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
is it a situation? I'm good right there. Like, is it a situation where you're just trying to get your doors up? Like, how many doors you trying? Like, what is how do you look at it when you're buying the whole?
No, that's a good question. I think this popped up off market and it looked like a great deal for me, so that's why I bought it. My other property I bought was a duplex. I'm not really targeting I'm not focused just on multi-units. I'm not focused, but I want to diversify. I want to have different type of properties.
Okay.
The next one, I want to buy like a building.
Yeah.
5-unit,
Yeah.
6-unit.
Gotcha.
So that was my next goal. So I just want to diversify.
So what's your ultimate goals? How many doors?
Infinite. I mean, I don't want to stop myself.
I'm
not
like,
gonna say.
Well, there you go. You answered it already.
Yeah,
Infinite.
I mean, it's
you don't have to. It don't have to be no ceiling.
yeah.
When it comes to what we do, right?
Right.
And infinite. You look at somebody like Grant Cardone.
I love him.
Yeah, and what he's doing, and and he always speak on it. Like, listen, I'm no smarter than you. He got one thing that I think most people don't realize you need to have. He got two. He got hustle.
Yeah.
Like his extreme hustle, and you can tell he's persistent.
Right.
Because some people got hustle, but they get it and they're not really persistent after they got it, and it's like, oh, you did all that hustle, but then you didn't follow through.
Yeah.
But if you got hustle and you persistent, there's no,
Absolutely.
there's no ceiling.
And I would just want to put it out there. The book that really changed my life was his "Be Obsessed or Be Average."
Okay.
That book.
Yeah.
Amazing. If you guys.
No, I never read it.
I haven't.
And I love Grant Cardone.
Yeah. If there's any newbies out there who are like want that fire, want that motivation.
Yeah.
That's the one book.
So the book
that took you over.
And what's the title of it?
Be Obsessed or Be Average.
Be Obsessed or Be Average.
And it talks about his life. That book is amazing.
Yeah, because he came from the car industry and he had a lot.
His story is
His
remarkable.
His story is intense.
Yeah.
Very intense.
Yeah.
And to see where he's at, that's why when you say infinite, that makes sense. Because look at a guy like him and you see
I don't know
100, 200 unit complexes he's buying, 500. It's ridiculous. He got
4,000. I think what is he? How many doors is he at?
He's more than 4,000 right
has
now.
a
Yeah,
lot.
he's up there.
There's apartment buildings everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. He flying around in G650. Grant, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. The G650.
He would love to have
And I'll be on the plane. I'll just let me on the plane.
You more than welcome.
No doubt.
You're more than welcome. Because those guys like him is inspiring, right? Another guy, Don Peoples, right? And he does a lot, complexes and different things of that nature that's inspiring. So when you look at these guys, and most of them, come from humble beginnings,
right?
And they just have drive,
right.
So I think that's super dope.
So do you focus? I'm sorry, not to cut you off. I wanted to make sure I get it. What zip code are we in right now? You said
19143.
19143. Do you have a certain niche area that you focus on, that you looking at like, okay, this is up and coming, or you're open to the whole city if it makes sense? Because Philly is pretty big in terms of just certain pockets, certain neighborhoods. What's your approach on that?
So I love West Philly, but I'm also obsessed with Strawberry Mansion, which is not in.
How far is West Philly from here?
Not that far. I want to say just 10 minutes north. You hit. Because we're southwest, so if you just go up, right there.
Okay.
So we're
that's
10 minutes.
Will Smith is from.
Yeah.
No, we were just in West Philly. The football team had the game. Remember?
Right,
we was in West Philly. I forgot what part.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we was in West Philly. So yeah,
I love West Philly.
Yeah,
it grew really fast.
Yeah,
quick.
Okay, so those are your areas that you feel like are sprouting up and turning into the next thing that could be.
It's already there.
It's already there.
It's already there.
Got
That's why
it.
it's so competitive now to get in.
Oh, really?
It's about who you know, your network.
Right.
To even get in, like.
So anybody got deals in West Philly?
Yeah.
You know,
or Southwest. We're in
Southwest.
Southwest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know, you got 3 people right here. It's interesting.
Yeah, and
we
Strawberry
got-
Mansion too.
Strawberry Mansion.
I think I got into that. There's an investor called Greg. Big Business is his
Oh,
name
Big
on
Business.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, very
He
familiar with
really
Big Business.
motivated me to look into Strawberry Mansion. I bought there because of him.
Okay.
Is that his neighborhood where he's from?
I think he's from North.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's
Got it,
from North.
okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, he puts out really great content and motivating.
Well, yeah, he's big in Ohio right now, right? Big in
and
Cleveland.
Ohio
Yeah,
and Cleveland
yeah,
too.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah. Shout out to Big
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got it. You got the property. Typically, after you're gonna refinance, right? Like you said, you spoke about the Burr Strategy, which
Yeah.
is
well, let's rewind a little bit because it might not be a refinance. Because if you getting, like, for instance, this project you keeping, right? But you had the investor that's put up the money, and then I guess this would be a refinance, and y'all gonna stay into the project long term together.
Correct.
Make this money. So what about the other projects? Because you say you went conventional. So if you went conventional on most of the projects, you just finishing them off and just keeping the loan, right? That's all. You're not. Or are you refinancing it again after you fix up everything?
Refinance again after I fix.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you are refinancing after
Yeah.
you fix everything,
Yeah.
and you cashing out,
Uh,
or are you?
well, to the percentage I can.
Yeah, like if
Yeah.
it's 75% LTV, 70, whatever they
Correct.
allow you to do,
Yeah.
after you refinance it.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're doing that, right? Because again, some deals you basically, once you fix it, you refinance, you get your money, make sure like what, because now you're at the point where when you refinance it, you got to make a decision, right? They might give you 75%, but 75%, like where do you want to be at net and on a rental since you're keeping them? Because some people say, you know what, I'm going to take this cash and go to the next one, and as long as it's taking care of itself.
well,
I'm
part of
cool.
it you have to, part of that you have to pull some cash out.
Right.
In order to
Yeah.
be able to have
Right.
some bread to.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get to on it is some people pull out more of the cash and they not really caring about the monthly
I
cash
hear you.
flow.
I hear
And
you.
then other people is like, I'm gonna pull out a little bit to get to the next, but I'm more concerned with the monthly cash flow. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the question is, are you more concerned with the monthly cash flow, or are you at the stage where I got to put more cash so I can keep building?
That's a good question. So I'm gonna rewind a little bit. So when I do my rehabs,
Yeah.
I do it really nice. I make it nice. I make it HGV style. I make
Yeah.
it so that they, I'm gonna be the best on the block, so they can live there.
Yeah,
So I'm charging.
top
Yeah.
dollar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Whatever
I'm
that-
gonna charge. Yeah,
Right.
like don't
Yeah,
get
listen.
judged for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
'Cause,
listen. If you're
but-
doing A1 work,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
It
providing
costs
a high quality
A1
product.
pricing.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's just
And I
what it
want
is.
them to stay. That's
Right.
the ultimate goal,
Long
right? I
term.
don't like
Turnover. Yeah.
Right.
So I put out really great product, and when I did, I had 300 applicants. It
Wow.
was like that, yeah.
300.
300 applicants.
Wow.
I'm not lying
So
to you.
what's
I had a
your
spreadsheet.
vetting process for sifting through those
That's a
applications?
lot.
So
happen.
I will be honest. I was like, do it yourself, girl, and that doesn't work for you
Yeah.
long term.
Yeah.
So I started doing that. Then I kind of met somebody that helped me swift through it. So he wasn't a property management. I
Yeah.
still manage my properties
Yeah.
myself, but he helped me sift through it because I want to disconnect from. That's not what I
Yeah,
enjoy to do.
yeah.
You know,
Right.
you got to find what you like, what you don't
100%.
like.
Yeah.
So I got him to do that for me, screening them, but I would do the background, all of that.
Got it.
So that's So that's pretty
And
much how I did it with
and
him,
you
but-
have minimal problems when you doing
Yeah.
those type of jobs.
exactly.
So
So
you're
because
not
I
getting
fix the
caught.
big things.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
everything else is the integrity is fine and the root
So,
and stuff.
so let's get into that, right? So you do these high end renovations for your renters that you keep in. But you're renting them. They're not homeowners. Are you doing annually inspection on your units? Are you doing monthly or quarterly, or how? Is there anything in place for that?
You know what? No, not really.
Okay.
When something goes wrong, or something happens,
Yeah.
I'll send one of my guys. They go there. I'm like, can you just do a little walkthrough for me, make sure everything's good?
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
mommy, no problem.
Okay.
So they'll go in, they'll check for me, just eye it, but nothing like, hey, I'm coming because I need to do a year.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, but like back to your point about putting out a great product, you
Yeah.
attract great tenants.
Yeah.
Right.
That will stay longer.
Right now, are you hands-on with collecting rent and stuff? Like, do they know that you're the owner, or do you have someone in between that to kind of
I like someone in between that.
handle that?
That buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the buffer. I think that's key.
It's important. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
important.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it's just a different level when it's not the owner. And,
Right.
you know, it's like, okay. So when they do have to say something, like, well, the owner needs this.
Yeah.
And it's a little easier, you know. So I think a buffer is key for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. All right. So high-end renovation.
Good high end, clean work.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, you put out great work. I'm a high believer in like then you attract great tenants that want to pay
That's
well.
a fact. I mean, 300 applicants.
So,
300 applicants.
You might have attracted the whole damn neighborhood.
I think so.
The 300
I know,
applicants.
the whole zip code came
Yes.
to apply.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
I don't think I've never heard that for an apartment.
Oh, man,
300.
For a 3-bedroom, 1-bath.
Yeah, that's
And I didn't
crazy.
even finish the basement.
Is
was
it
just
that
upstairs.
hard to get an apartment in this
Well,
area?
that would be a whole house. You renting the house.
It's a whole house.
So, you know.
It's a
that-
great
right.
product.
So big
See,
family, right.
I know my competition, right? So that's part of the due diligence. Before you start a rehab, I go and I look at what is everybody doing around me. And I go and I specifically, whether it's on Go Section 8, Zillow, I go in there and I see, okay, what kind of products are they putting out? What kind of finishes are they doing? It's all about the finishes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all about
And you can still keep it within budget
Yeah.
and put out a great product. You
Sometimes-
just have to research.
Listen, sometimes it's just style.
And it's style, too.
Sometimes people
Yeah.
just don't have it.
Yeah,
you know.
you're the king. You're the king of style.
Listen.
It make it look like $1 million bucks.
People coming to the project like, oh man, how much did you spend on this? It's all about the vision, and you're
Right.
seeing certain things. That's not marble, but it look like marble, but it ain't marble, you know. And
Yeah.
they look at it, and the way you design it,
Right.
it goes a long way. Because I have seen people put really expensive stuff, and it's ugly.
Right.
It's just ugly. It's
Yeah,
like
it
it's
doesn't
like
go together.
It don't at
Yeah.
all. And you're like, how you like this project? Like, yeah, it's cool. And
Yeah.
you don't, because I'm not one to try to be negative, but it just don't look good.
Right.
So you can be, as you mentioned, in budget and still look pretty high end because you got all, the finishes are very
Yeah.
clean and
And what a lot of people miss too is like there's other places you can buy stuff besides Home Depot and Lowe's.
Yeah.
I think people have to hustle and find. It's not just them, right?
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
other ways you can hustle and find.
Do y'all have like a floor and decor out here? Or
Love floor and decor.
Oh, my
Decor.
God.
We
man.
got one in King of Prussia and then and one in Jersey.
Your face
Oh.
lit up.
Yeah,
Floor
I
decor.
love
Yeah.
listen,
decor.
look, floor and decor is my spot.
that's it.
I'm going there
that's
today
what I
after
said.
this.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I
floor
love
and decor
it. Nah.
is definitely I love the vibe of the store.
Yeah.
It's just
And their clearance is awesome.
Oh,
They
what?
get some good. Yeah.
listen,
Nah,
you know.
I know.
My gray vinyls, they look so like they just look good.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this is clean.
And it
Yeah.
came from Floor and
Yeah.
Decor. So shout out to Floor and Decor.
I know,
Hey,
right?
sponsor us.
Yeah.
All right, so
you go.
let's not. I want to definitely get you to get on the point of when you do take that money out. Are you focusing more on more money for the cash flow or more money on the cash out?
Or
Like
buying the
More money on the
Bentley.
cash out.
more money on the cash out?
No
Do
Bentley.
you buy Bentley
No.
after the fact?
No.
or traveling
Couple
to
Rolls
like
Royce.
Yeah, a couple drivers.
traveling to
different-
Tulum to
Yeah,
you know.
right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No,
so
straight back to investment.
yeah,
so
Right.
you
I pull
refine
out-
it
Yeah.
and then take it right
Yeah.
back into
So
fin-
yeah, exactly. So back to putting out like a great product.
Yeah.
I'm charging a good price.
Yeah.
So when I'm pulling out, I'm not really hurt
yeah
on the cash flow, right? And
Yeah.
cash flow is important to maintain the house. So
Yeah.
you need that if stuff goes out. But ultimately, it's buy and hold for long term, and that's where you see the gain with
Yeah.
appreciation,
Right.
like long term wealth, right?
Right. While being able to depreciate it over time.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
And so when you're looking at that, do you have any type of strategy that you're looking as far as paying it off? Or is you just saying like, hey, let it take care of itself and I'm
Here,
on
let it pay it off.
and then
Yeah.
I'm on to the
Yeah, so
next.
you're
Yes,
playing the long
yes.
game.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
in it for a long.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
there
I
you
like
go.
it.
Yeah.
So in between that time, are you still doing your IT job as well?
Yeah, you remember earlier she said
Yeah.
she's
Well,
hustling.
she said,
I'd be like,
she's one of many jobs.
You probably
Yeah,
have to edit that out.
Yeah, one of many jobs.
Yeah.
She's a full time hustler.
So you got a lot to manage, right? And then obviously this is not the podcast for the IT, but that's a lot to kind of unpack. Like you got your full time gig over here, and then managing these projects is full time. Like
Absolutely.
let's not lighten up the load. Like and you're actually GCing
Yeah.
the project.
Yeah. I have to sacrifice a lot. That's family time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with my parents, my
Right.
brothers, missing birthdays,
Yeah.
weddings. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of stuff that I think people need to be ready for.
Right.
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 It's a serious game. We're not, playing with little dollars here and there. It's big assets.
Right.
So you have to be ready to kind of sacrifice those things. I don't think it's healthy for the long term. I think you got to put processes in place to make sure that you're not like hurting yourself. But initially, when you're starting, there's a lot of sacrifices.
You gotta
have to
put it in.
And it's key that you mentioned that because a lot of people look at it like, oh, okay, she got a full-time job and she doing it. Oh, I can do it. No, sacrifice. And if are you willing to do that to get to the ultimate goal? And obviously you are. So people need to know that. Like, listen, be willing to sacrifice.
Right. And everything is different, or not be willing to sacrifice, but understand that you won't be able to get there.
Right.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So I like to always be clear on that because sometimes people aren't willing to sacrifice, right? And then they don't get the goal that they're looking for, and they always looking back like, oh, this happened, that happened. But when you unpack it, it's like, well, you didn't really sacrifice what you needed to.
But that's the self-awareness part of it.
Well,
right, and that's a whole
has a whole nother conversation.
And it's a fear.
Yeah.
And it's fear, and fear is your ultimate worst enemy.
Yeah.
I think fear, and I had it too. I'm not saying I didn't have fear, but I had it. But I had to work towards acknowledging that fear is just it's nothing.
Yeah,
it's you holding you back.
Right.
What's
And
the
it's
worst
all in
case
your head.
scenario
Right.
with real estate? You can't go wrong. It's such a forgiving asset class.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't work out, you sell. So what? You get
Yeah.
your money back.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
But it's hard for people.
You don't get your money back all the time.
Well, look, if you get
If you get it right, some people take L.
well with the
but-
market prices right now.
Oh, well, now
I
you
mean,
listen.
it's like-
Listen, if you can't make money now, you should.
You
Well,
shouldn't be.
no, I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
Let me keep striving.
Yeah, there you go. Keep striving.
Listen, again,
Keep striving.
right.
But
Yeah.
it's more favorable now.
It's
Let's
more,
say
Correct.
it's more favorable,
Let's
right?
say that.
But at the end of the day, you still have to do those few things right. You still got to have a good buy-in on your price point.
Sure.
You still got to manage your project, right?
Right.
A few of those things get left. I don't care any market. A few of those things go left, you're out. You know, you're out of your situation. You didn't budget your money properly.
Well, I
If you're
think
managing a few jobs.
I think
right?
the main thing for anybody, honestly, that could have lost their shirt, people that bought right before COVID, right? And they bought a project and all material went up. Lumber went up, and then, now they didn't have that proper buffer on the project, right? And then now they come and like, hold up.
Well, I mean, my new construction is right in the middle of COVID. I mean, it was doing it right in the middle of COVID.
But you had a good enough buffer.
And you had your project too
in the middle of COVID,
in the middle of COVID.
but I had
Right,
most of the
but-
stuff. I was on the tail end. We
okay.
paid more for the and finishing stuff. Like my contractor said, hey, listen, these doors was only $75. Now they charging $125, and I had to work with them because it was labor and material. And another thing that we learned in the process that was key. This was when we was talking to Jude, and he was like, if you know it's outside of their control, then you pay that
Then you
different.
work with 'em, right.
Because some people are so tight, but like, well, you agreed to pay, do this job for $100,000, figure it out.
Right.
He ain't gonna finish it,
Right. And then
because
right.
things change.
And now you run the risk of him walking off
Yeah.
the job.
Right.
So it's about also understanding that, right? But if you got into a situation with COVID and it was, again, you was just doing labor and you had to pay material, you might be stuck if you don't have those funds. Fortunately, we had the, ability to do it, and we had a big enough gap that, we were supposed to say make $125,000, we made $85,000. All right, whatever.
Yeah,
but if you was
exactly.
if you was calculating like you're new and you're like, if I make 50,000, great. Then that 50 go to 5.
Right. And listen,
that's
It's
and
what it's up, and
and-
it happened to people.
listen.
Yeah.
So those people, I'm saying that they can't control that.
And I have somebody that I actually just spoke with. I'm not gonna say her name, but another girl. She did her first investment property, and with a contractor that she had a relationship with, and went through the process. Ended up spending more money, and literally walked away with almost breaking even. You know what I mean? There's times where, not mainly any of my projects, because I'm really good in that buy-in, but times where I was wholesaling a property and I thought, I was gonna make X amount of dollars, and then it was an oil tank, and the oil tank ended up costing me $20,000 to remove, right?
Yeah.
And then that was a lot of my profit gone, right?
Right,
Ended up
right.
walking away with like $5,000. So like things happen, right?
Yeah.
And the key is, one, if that happens to you, learn from it. Don't, because people want to get out of the business once they get once they get spanked.
Yeah, they first
No.
somebody tap them on the chin
Right.
and they like, oh,
Yeah,
this is
you know,
over for me.
Yeah, you got to be ready to get punched in the face.
Right.
And let's be clear. You're going to get punched in the face in
You're
real
gonna
estate.
get
I
punched
don't
in the
care
face.
who you are. And
And if you haven't got punched in the face, you just haven't been doing it long enough.
Yeah,
Unfortunately
there
to
you
say
go,
that.
for
Unfortunately
sure.
to say that.
hold
but
up,
it's true.
hold up. Put that. That's a real house
That's a real
fact.
house
You gotta
fact.
get that. That's a real house. If you haven't got punched in the face in real estate, you just haven't been doing it long enough.
True.
It's the game that it punched you a couple of times, but you just got to keep moving.
Right.
And that's the key. If you stay consistent, you will be successful in this
Right.
game.
And it's a discipline and habit, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's it. That repetitive.
Yeah.
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 Every day. So, okay, so you got your projects, you're managing these rentals. Do you have a property manager, or are you managing all your rentals yourself, and you kind of, how are you more hands-on? I know you have, you send a GC out, but who's actually doing the property management?
So I am right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
you are.
I
Okay,
have processes in place.
got it. So what's next for Mahi? Like, what are you looking to do next? Obviously, you're launching your business,
Yeah.
which we spoke about a little
Yeah,
bit.
and you can say it again for the people.
Yeah.
It is called
Investor Star Mahi.
Yeah,
Investor
and
Star
in
Mahi.
fact, we'll throw it up.
Yeah, we'll put it in
We'll
there
put it
so
in
you
the-
guys can go
we'll-
check
yep.
out. You need help with your projects. Mahi gonna be the one to take it home for you.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So outside of your business, what's next in terms of investing or anything, or even outside investing? What's next for you in the next upcoming years?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I definitely want to diversify my investment portfolio.
Okay.
My next steps, I do want to get into commercial, multi-use buildings. So that's my next goal. So
Got
I'm
it.
working towards that now.
Yeah, and I would love to sit down and talk about that further, because that's where we at in our process and looking to grow. I think Philly's a great market.
It is.
Just in terms of rentals, and being a place where it's still not totally. I don't think the values have skyrocketed like in our neighborhoods yet. So there's still opportunity to come in, but again, to buy and hold for
Right.
that 20-year, 30-year play.
Yes.
You gotta have that gut, that
Yeah.
gut
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah,
though.
long
I think
term.
That's what we got to do. I
Yeah.
mean, look at the trajectory right now.
Yeah.
Them pumping out all this money.
Right.
Mhm.
Rent price is gonna go up.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely,
fact.
absolutely. So we're right outside as one of the projects that you're gonna show us. You
Yeah.
know, I know you're in the beginning stage of
Yeah.
they're doing the framing and.
But we like the beginning stages, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
We
The
got
beginning stages
project-
are the most fun for us. Yeah.
We've
This
been
is
in.
the scary part.
Oh
Yeah, yeah.
most-
Hey, so
For
the
most
people,
newbies.
yeah, the newbies, we about to
Yes.
show y'all the scary because you got episodes that we show finishing.
Yeah.
Yes.
People that they finishing. This ain't the finishing.
Yeah.
This is the ones that make most people run when they really get to it. So you
But
know,
this is where the gems are. This is where the most value is created, right?
Absolutely.
And value, I mean equity, where, now because your price point was so low that, once you hook it up, now you can actually even push comps, create your own comps, right?
Absolutely.
So it's important to get as much as people want to run away from.
yeah.
You got to run to the fire. Like that's
Yeah.
where the money is made in this business.
And
is
try to
running
be
the
better
fire.
than anyone on the block.
Right.
Yeah.
Without, hurting yourself, obviously, budget. But there's just little things, creative things that you want to be the best on the block.
And
Right.
and I think just to go back to that point, I don't want that to go over people's head. What you stated earlier, you said what you do is you check around what's renting around the area, just to that point, so you can be a little bit better. So when it's time for you to present your project, it's going to be the best on the block.
And I'm going to have 300 applicants.
Absolutely.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to want
Yeah.
to live there.
Have 300 applicants. 300 applicants.
That right there, I never had 300 applicants.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this for a long
I couldn't
time.
keep up.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
that's a
it was-
that's
it was
that's
a
Nah, like
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
You gotta at that point you can be super selective.
You're like,
I am.
You're
It
like,
took me a while.
I don't.
Yeah.
Your hair is a little bit too much to the right. I don't think I like how that looks. I'm gonna. You're like, that's a
my
lot.
God.
You can
yeah,
do whatever.
It
It's like,
is.
what?
That's why I got help.
Yeah.
Eventually, I couldn't keep up with the phone calls.
No,
And it was
definitely.
a lot.
So, for agents or other investors in the area that want to contact you, how can they reach out to you? What's your contact info for the people?
Now, you don't have to do
Yeah.
a phone number. You can do your Instagram.
Yeah,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, you trying to be with this call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. It would be on Instagram.
Yeah.
Investor Star Mahi.
Investor Star
Find me
Mahi. Okay, so research her, look her up, do some business, but pay to play. Be prepared to pay to play. And if you are a contractor that's doing great work, make sure you are in line because she's ready and she's active.
very
doing her
active,
thing.
and
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you. We're about to check out her project right now, and man, this is another episode of Rehab Nation.
Real Estate Uncovered.
Signing
Wow.
off.
Oh, you want to purchase property? Let me show you properly how to turn your pipe dreams to real life monopoly. First things first, what's your budget like? If you don't keep your budget tight, good luck trying to go to sleep at night. You going hard money? Nah, this ain't hard money, but interest only 12 months can leave you scarred money.